The Book of Circles by Franda Hunting. Proverbs on the creation and use of swords. Forging Maxims. In the clay smelter you shall build a charcoal fire of a heat to blacken teeth. You shall add a layer of iron sand upon the charcoal. After 6 year burns, you shall add a layer of charcoal atop the iron. You shall repeat this process, layering iron sand over charcoal for 3 days. After cooling, you shall separate the low-carbon steel from the high-carbon steel. You shall use the low-carbon steel to form the core of the sword. You shall use the high-carbon steel to form the skin of the sword. You shall forge weld, fold, and forge weld and selim the skin of the sword until it attains its needful kotu ajsia. You shall sharpen the sword skin until it may shave an egg without breaking it. You shall speak the oblation to Ansi, then drink of the purifying beverage of kotu. Then Anselim. Sundas Maxims. Thus on Sundas, faithful ones, do we consider these maxims of the Master. Be as dawn to your ally, and set dusk upon your foe. The 405th strike, the serpent's right fang as it pierces the eye. When swarmed by flies, favor the flat over the edge. Anger is a crack in the hull that sinks the ship. First blood matters less than last breath. Journey many and many miles, but do not leave the whole of the virtues of war. Discover your foe's habits and discard your own. Do not lose the melody in the rapture of one triumphant note. Tirdas Maxims. Thus on Tirdas, faithful ones, do we consider these maxims of the Master. The sword is the self, its edge is the mind. To shed the mantle of fear is to cast it upon your enemy. Shouting to halt the sands shifting only leaves you hoarse. Prepare to pay for victory in blood, but do not waste a drop. The victor's temple grasps their opponents and devours it. The 79th strike, the spear of the fisherman sharpened at daybreak. Live and die in every moment of battle. Fredas Maxims. Thus, on Fredas, faithful ones, do we consider these maxims of the Master. When your foe takes their ease, make them toil. When your foe is full, remind them of hunger. When your foe seeks their bed, wake them. When your foe longs for home, keep them in the field. When your foe is ready to take the field, keep them at home. What your foe prepares for you, do not taste. What your foe does not prepare for you is a banquet, laid out on a golden table. Loredas Maxims. Thus on Loredas, faithful ones, do we consider these maxims of the Master. Train your opponent to make the wrong response. The worst action executed with vigor is superior to the best action executed timidly. A thrust is elegant, and a cut is powerful, but sometimes the right action is a headbutt. The high guard is most suitable for feints and crossovers, but mind your never limbs. Your opponent's sword is not your enemy. Watch your opponent, not their sword. Perfection in the 8 basic cuts is critical, though you will never use them in battle. A closed line is not open. Mastery of discipline. In the season of life in which I passed through the rain's hand, more than 90 duels did I face to prove myself invincible. I learned the 38 grips, the 750 offensive and 1800 defensive stances, and the 9,000 strikes that I would practice for all my future days. With Ansi's blessing, the sword singer must do the same to achieve mastery of discipline. Mastery of devotion. In the season of life in which I marched beneath the sun's height, before the power of the gods did I kneel, I dedicated myself wholly unto the spirit of the sword to forge my shihai, which I would wield for all my future days. With Tall Papa's blessing, the sword singer must do the same to achieve mastery of devotion. Mastery of wisdom. In the season of life in which I was exposed to the hearth's fire, into deep contemplation did I withdraw to ponder the nature of truth. I sharpened my mind as my blade, and defined the principles I would honor for all my future days. With Tava's blessing, the sword singer must do the same to achieve mastery of wisdom. Mastery of sacrifice. In this season of life in which I shivered from the frost's fall, so did I find myself called upon to cast aside the notions of my destiny that I had deemed true. I left the land of my home, to which I did not return for all my future days. Under Satakaun's ever-changing influence, the sword singer must do the same to achieve mastery of sacrifice.